Hi everyone, it's Renee from MacArthur Library here. Tonight I'm just going to do a quick demo on searching in our historic newspaper archive. And so away we go. Let's see. So start off right here at the library's homepage, macarthurlibrary.org. Click on local history and that will bring you to our local history site. That's also known as biddefordhistory.com, and that's MacArthur Library. And you scroll down right here, Biddeford Historic Newspaper Archive. Click on that, and that will bring you to our historic newspaper collection. The two examples that I'm going to use to help orient you to using this, the first one is going to be looking up an event from the Civil War, which I think might be useful for students. And the other thing we will do is searching an event from 100 years ago, which would be 1920, and something you can easily do and might also be something that students might find useful. So first of all, let's start with an event from the Civil War. And there are a couple ways that you can do that. If you scroll down, you can see these are all different Biddeford and Saco newspaper titles, but you can also browse by the year. And that's probably one of the easiest ways to look, especially for Civil War era. And you can come right down here to the 1860s and click on that. And that brings you have 60, 61, 62, 63. We have newspapers for every year of the Civil War. So I picked kind of out of the hat June 1863 and July 1863. Those were the Battle of Portland Harbor and Gettysburg, which were both important main battles, and the kind of thing you might be interested in looking up. And that's going to bring us right here to 1863. And I'm just going to click on that year. And you'll see over here on the side, we've got two different newspaper titles that pop up. We've got the Maine Democrat, which was published in Saco, and the Union and Journal, which was published in Biddeford. So if we're looking for June 1863, you can scroll right down here and you see there's a calendar. And so we can use the little arrows here to browse right on down to June 1863. And for every day that you see in gray, that means we have a newspaper for that day. And both papers that we have for that year were weeklies. So you'll see we've got quite a few here. So June 1863, I don't have the actual date of the battle, so I'm just going to pick a day at random to look at, and here's June 26, 1863. So I'm going to click on that date. And here we have the Union and Journal for Friday, June 26, 1863. And it goes page by page, and you can see that down here at the bottom. This is page 1, page 2, page 3. And this information here is imperfect, but it kind of some information pops up correctly, like John E. Butler. He was the publisher. Let's see. So some things pop up there that you can read. That's OCR, which is optical character resolution, and that's how they make these newspapers word searchable. Optical character recognition. But anywho, we clicked on the title, and that brings us to page 1. And if you look up here, you can scroll through the whole paper, and this shows you it's 4 pages long. So you can scroll down. The print is quite small, and so if you go up here, you can see you can zoom in. You can click that little plus, or you can also use the zoom here. And you can zoom in quite a bit, so you can really read that writing, and that works pretty well. And you can also, so you can go page to page this way, 1 of 4, 2 of 4. You can also use these side arrows to scroll through as well. And so here's all kinds of information about Civil War matters, right here. Just scads and scads of information of what was going on at the time. So you can kind of just read through to see if you can locate information about various battles. Also, for genealogists, divorce is granted at the last term of the Supreme Judicial Court at Alfred. Divorces were decreed for the following parties, and that's a gold mine for you genealogists. So worth looking at. Let's see. General Conference of Maine. So this is some Maine information. So what you can do with this, though, at this point, is you can crop, which you can basically make a copy of a specific article and save it to yourself, and you do that, and you can get very fancy with it. It gives you the information, tells you what page 2 from the Union Journal published, yada yada. You can add a title for yourself, hit next. This is quite a bit you can do here, and at this point you can keep going through, hit next. You can print from here, you can continue to download from here, next. And this makes it kind of just a really nice fancy article found in the Community History Archive of MacArthur Public Library. So it's easy for you to remember where you found something. You can share with Facebook, share with Twitter from here as well. And the other thing you can do is this button right here, which is the download. This will download a PDF of the entire page, which is great. And so that's the other thing you can do from here. This button here allows you to, you can look at it, look at the paper in a strict black and white, or it'll give it kind of like a tinge, which some people might prefer. Do what is comfortable for you. This here will bring us back to our search results. And I'll show you. And this last piece will just bring you all the way home, back to the front page. So that's one way to search for events from the Civil War. 100 years ago it is the same. If you have a date range, browsing by year is a really easy way to kind of drill down into what we have. 1920, click on that. That brings you, we have 2 titles currently that will give you material from the 1920s, the Biddeford Weekly Journal and the Weekly Record, which we have an extensive archive of, and until we had it digitized last year, had been inaccessible to the public for the most part. So that's very exciting to have that. And say an event from 100 years ago, you're in 1920, maybe you want to look for a strike. And I'm just typing that in right here at the search. And this is where you can see it pulls up from the word searchable capability. So this is strikes baseball, which was a big deal and still is. More strikes. So this one here looks like a Union one. Strike settles to test of strength. Rail strike. So that's pretty interesting. So we'll click on that title, and that's in the Biddeford Weekly Journal. And that's, yeah, so looks like all kinds of interesting stuff on some strikes that were going on. July 21st, 1922. And boy, I gotta tell you, when you get into these turn of the century newspapers, it's hard not to find something interesting. You can kind of click on anything and wow, you're gonna see some interesting writing and some interesting information. Probate court, another gold mine for genealogists. And then so back here to our page, and the way you can see how all the strike words come up as highlighted, and you can, by clicking on this little spyglass, you can uncheck highlight all, and then it won't. Click on that to close it back up. And then you don't have all those highlights if you don't want them, but then put it back on and you can see everywhere where that comes up. And that can, especially if you're searching for a name, as I said before, it's imperfect, but it can be really helpful, so it's always worth using that. So I'm going to go back to home. And just before we get out of here, I will, show you the browse by title. If you click down here on more, we have a really wide range. We have a lot of newspaper titles. And so you can see right here in the list, you can see the title of the newspaper, how many pages, like if it's like single pages that we have of a title, and the year range for that. So see, we've got the Union Journal 1861 to 1882, Daily Evening Star, we just have for 1 year. The Weekly Record, the Weekly Standard, the Union, the Journal Tribune, which we're going to be adding to that. We're going to be digitizing our entire run of the Journal Tribune, which is since closed. So over the next couple of years, we will have all of that on here as well. The only thing just to be aware of on here is that there's a separate entry for every particular title. So for example, the Journal Tribune has undergone a wide number of names. So you're going to find that same paper here under multiple names, like the Biddeford Daily Journal, the Journal Tribune, the Biddeford Journal, and later on, when we get to the Biddeford Saco Journal, that's all the same paper, just many different names, variations of the name. But you can browse all of these titles. You can just click right on the title, The Daily Breeze, 1890, and you can take a look at some little snippets of history here. Save them, print them, download them, do whatever you would like. This is all free and open to the public, accessible 24/7, doesn't cost anything to use it. Service provided by the library, and we really hope you enjoy it. And I hope you've enjoyed this brief and hopefully not too garbled introduction to searching the newspapers. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Send me an email, give us a call, and we're here to help. So have a great night, and don't forget that's macarthurlibrary.org. Click on local history and the historic newspaper archive, and have fun. Good night.